Hi, and welcome to this Legacy League video on Magic the Gathering Online. Today we're playing 5 rounds of Tainted Pact in Legacy. What is Tainted Pact, you may ask? Tainted Pact is an instant that lets you reveal cards from the top of your library and choose one and put it into your hand. And everything else that is revealed gets exiled. The catch is that if you reveal more than one card with the same name, then all your cards go into exile and none of them go into your hand. Meaning you're incentivized to play with a deck of almost all singletons, including your mana base. So there are a couple of downsides to doing this. One is the mana base is less consistent. 2, you don't get your full suite of cantrips. And really 3, the other big downside is you don't have 4 Force of Will in your blue deck, which is a meaningful downside versus the combo decks in the format that really ask you to have Force of Will. So there are a few ways that we've tried to manage this. One is I'm playing a lot of modal spells, which are flexible. Cantrips allow you to find what you need when you need it, and I'm playing a lot of spells that serve multiple purposes throughout the game. So stuff like Drown in the Lock, or tutors that find specific pieces like Waterlogged Teachings, which is also a land, or Otawara, which is a land, which is also a spell. Making use of these effects, more and more of which are being printed, helps with the consistency. The power level basically entirely comes with Tainted Pact combo with Thassa's Oracle, where you have a 4-card twin situation, win the game, which can be 4 mana, sorry, not 4 card. Twin situation, win the game across 4 mana in one turn, or you can play Pact in their end step for 2 mana and untap and lethal Oracle in your turn, because you can Pact through your whole deck minus the last card if you need to. The reason we're playing 2 copies of each is that you're usually casting Pact when you already have an Oracle, or you often are, which means you'll only be able to see 1 Oracle in your deck at maximum, and the second copy of Pact will be on the stack if the first one is in your library, for example. So you will not lose to these cards very often. Sometimes you'll be Tainted Pacting for an answer, and you'll have 2 Oracles in your deck, and you'll just know that if you see the first Oracle, you're playing with fire a bit, continuing, because you might not get to draw anything if you hit the second Oracle, and then everything gets exiled. So ideally you're not doing that. So, we're playing a lot of modal spells, as I said. You're also playing a sort of a suite of removal, right? So you're thinking, I don't get to play 4 Fatal Push, so I'm playing 1 Cut Down, 1 Fatal Push, 1 Go for the Throat, 1 Dismember, 1 Snuff Out. And I'm only getting to play... I'm not getting to play 8 cantrips, but I am playing 1 Brainstorm, 1 Consider, 1 Ponder, 1 Preordain, which is sort of the better 4. And then you're also playing 1 Cling to Dust, 1 Nile Spellbomb, 1 Thunder Trap Trainer, 1 Falagi Archaeologist. Those are sort of impulse effects. So you sort of see the ideas that I'm working with here. The Falagi and the Thunder Trap Trainer work well with Flare of Denial, which supplements our lack of Force of Will effects in our deck, which is part of why I'm trying that out. Hopefully that will be successful today. I like the idea of this. Something that I've found in the past is that not having enough Force of Wills in your deck really does hamstring this strategy. And then otherwise you're just playing stock good Dimir cards, so Murktide Regent, Kaito, Baragoyf, Brazen Borrower, Baleful Strix, Orcish Bowmasters, Tamio, that sort of thing. And then you're playing a Snapcaster Mage, which synergizes with all of your one-of instants and sorceries. In the sideboard, again, we're looking at a lot of singletons. We're looking at probably a bit more graveyard hit than usual, but that's because you don't have any 0-mana disruption for your Reanimator opponent in Force of Will, so you need a bit more graveyard hate. So Leyline, Fairy, Cage, Soul-Wide Lantern, Surgical. I'm not playing a Doughty Voidwalker. I'm avoiding playing black spells to account for the slightly worse mana base than you might expect usually. There's 4 basics, and the fetches are a bit awkward, and you're playing Drowned Catacomb, Darkslick Shores, Clear Water Pathway. Cards that are susceptible to Wasteland more than you'd expect in the Legacy deck, that sort of thing. So, no Doughty Voidwalker, no black spells. I think very few blue spells, really. I mean, there's only Oracle on 2. So, Yeah, and then the 2 blue blasts. You can get some actual redundancy here in your spells. Mono red is very popular. Consign is a great sideboard card in the format. Flusterstorm for that little extra defense. There's some hateful permanents in Sphere, Null Rod, and Opposition Agent, and some anti-wide creature removal. I think that's all I have to say. I will see you in the games. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to round 1. We're playing against Marta1207 and we have won the die roll. So yes, we would like to play first. And this opening hand is a bit awkward, so Clearwater Pathway snuff out immediately a problem, but also we don't have a second land. We do have a force. I think I'm probably supposed to mulligan this. I guess I can cast Cling to Dust off this Clearwater Pathway, but if our opponent has a Wasteland, we have no recourse. And I'm just going to be playing this, and then yeah, I guess I can float black, cycle this off their Wasteland or something. Yeah, that seems a bit thin, so I'm going to mulligan. This is better. We have 3 lands if we want them, a removal spell, a counter spell, and 2 grindy cards. I don't think a Force of Negation by itself will be beating any combo decks, and I wonder if just bottoming it and keeping the flexible suite of cards we have, like being stronger against Wasteland with more lands, doubling down on having creature interaction and board interaction. I think that's where I'm at, just because going down another card for a Force isn't great, and I think this hand plays a fair game relatively well, so we're hoping to do that. I'm going to start off on the sewers. Ooh, okay. A bit of lag today, Magic Online, again. Let's see how long this takes, but we're starting up on the sewers. I don't think it's worth me holding up Fatal Push this turn. If they play something on someone I have to push, then I can represent that later. I don't think I want the 4th land just yet. And yeah, I will pass through the turn. Okay, this looks like a third out, so maybe I'm being rewarded here. So, Volcanic Island, Mishra's Bauble. They're going to see our card. I have no idea what they'll see. It's going to be one of 53 mostly individual cards, which is fun. They're going to cast Ponder and probably pass. They did not shuffle. Let's draw a card. Yep. And they saw a Floater Strand. Nothing too odd yet. I'm just going to play out this island, I think, and I'm going to pass back. We've actually not shown them anything yet, which could tell them that we're playing a slightly abnormal deck. They're going to play a Polluted Delta and pass, and I'm pretty happy with just sitting back here. Yeah. Happy to have drawn a Snapcaster there. I could have played the Sink into Stupor there, but it's fine. There's some utility in having it available, and I can play it next turn if I need it. If they tap out for something, there's a chance that I can get in with Kaito as well, which is exciting as a potential option. So they've brainstormed, and they are fetching in their upkeep. Notably, they didn't fetch in my end step, which means maybe they aren't playing a Surveil land, or it could mean that they have something like Stifle that they want to keep up, or Stubbius. Dragon's Rage Channeler, that's fine. Ponder, okay. Channeler, Ponder, Surveil. I could push this to deny them having another Surveil off another sorcery. I think that's what I want to do. It does mean that they know when they're casting Ponder that they don't have a Dragon's Rage Channeler anymore, and they might more highly prioritize another copy of it, but I think I'd rather they just don't get another Surveil off another Ponder or similar. Okay, and I think I'm just going to untap again, not fetch in their end step. Okay, I'm fine with just making land drops. They are certainly playing Daze, potentially also Spell Pierce, and having access to, that's fine. More mana is always good. They're almost certainly playing Wasteland as well, so yeah, I'm happy to just be making my land drops. We are now in a spot where we can Snapcaster Mage our Fatal Push if they play something out, which could happen, though they're paying costs, so it smells like they've got Murktide Regent, which is going to be 7/7, I think, if they exile everything that they can to make it bigger. But we have a couple of answers to that, and I'm okay with this right now, so that's good. Yeah. And they may fight over this Brazen Borrower, but I think it's still my preferred tool in this spot. I may just force it, which, okay, no force, right. I could have fetched there again. Don't think so, though. I think I will be keeping Sync in my hand until they show me that they're going to attack my mana base. Because I can cast a 3-mana spell around days. They have another Brainstorm, so this is their third Brainstorm, I believe. Okay. And they don't want to keep the cards, and once again, they fetch their upkeep. So at this point, I think it's more likely they just don't have a Surveil land, and they don't necessarily have a Stifle or similar either. They're probably going to Wasteland my sewers. I don't know, they're playing something else first. That's interesting. This is interesting. So this is going to be a 4/4, I think. If I exiled that one Brainstorm. So I can choose to Sync here, or I can choose to just sit back and put Brazen Borrower into play. And I could represent having an Orc and just attack with Brazen Borrower and see what happens. I think I will do that. If it's a 4/4. So I can attack with my Brazen Borrower, and they may bolt it. I can't fetch from the basic, but that's okay. Well, under the basic island, I suppose, with the cards I have. Yeah, so I'm just going to go for this and see what they do. So if they block, I can Sync their Murktide. If they don't block, I can Ninjutsu in Kaito and stun their Murktide, which I think I will do. This is a bit of a risky play. We'll see where they go with it. No, they're not thinking about that at all. Lovely. I'm very happy about that. Because that means I get my Brazen Borrower back. I have this. So they need to have Stifle now, otherwise things do get a little awkward for them. Yeah. So I can actually now bolt in this Sync and bounce the Murktide and see if that works. They likely will have days, but if they don't, I can then just start drawing cards with my Kaito, which I like the sound of. So I'm going to try this. This might not work, and that's probably okay for now. There's a good chance this gets days, though. Oh, they have something. They have Force of Negation. Okay, so I will be stunning the Murktide Regent and passing. So if they have a Bolt or an Unholy Heat, which is also relatively likely, they will be able to kill my Kaito. That's fine. Dragonfish Handler is okay here. So they're going to do this in this order. So Delver, Channeler, Wasteland me. Okay, maybe they don't have it. Okay. Wow. Not what I expected at all. Yeah. Right, well, I'm going to attack them with my 3/4 and see what they choose to do. We've got another turn with Murktide not untapping here. I'm going to get in with Kaito, so that's interesting. I will Surveil 2 and draw a card for each opponent that lost life this turn. Thundertrap Trainer, Preordain. I actually quite like both of these. I don't know if I have time for both of these. They didn't daze my Brazen Borrower, notably, so unless they drew a daze, I can potentially resolve my Trainer and my Murktide. So I'm going to put this Preordain into the graveyard and put this on top. And I'm going to give myself... I guess that's what I plan to do here. I could also have snap pushed one of these creatures, but I think I'm happy just getting on the board. So let's play our own Murktide Regent. What do you say about that? They might say no, they might have a force. They do, and they had another force. Okay, so 2 forces, which is fine. So they put days in their graveyards. So they're electing to... Okay, I suppose they... Yeah, they don't know I have another creature, right? So if I didn't have another creature, they'd be able to attack counter to death. As it stands, they now need to draw a removal spell to do that, or a way to flip either of these functionally. I will pick up this fun though, and pass. Having the force behind there was very strong for them. They failed to flip their Delver, so they've either drawn a creature or a land, most likely, or maybe something like a counterbalance. A counterbalance would give them a chance to trigger Surveil, or as would Seek the Beast Questing Druid. But they drew another Murktide Regent, which is scary. It's a lot of pressure. And I don't have quite enough to manage all this. So this is interesting. So if I draw Tainted Pact, that would be ideal. No Tainted Pact. I think I'm just going to run out this Sauron's Ransom. Bit of lag here, I think. So I'd like to cast this Sauron's Ransom, and that would let me make Kaito into the Ring Bearer, and it will be able to attack through their Murktide Regent, and we'll be able to block it if I want to be able to Surveil 2 and then draw a card. I think it's unlikely I will do that, though. It seems much more likely that I will want to tap one of their creatures down. They are showing me Harbinger and Clearwater Pathway, neither of which solve my current situation, so I will take the face down pile. Drown in the Lock. Okay, that does let me kill one of their creatures. And I think, as I said, we'll make Kaito the Ring Bearer. Yeah, so Drown lets me answer... yeah, I should attack either way because I can't block with Kaito. Drown lets me answer one of their smaller threats. Okay, so they're just chump blocking there. That's fine. So, okay, so I've killed one of the creatures with Kaito. I can now double time walk this other Murktide Regent, and I can drown the Delver of Secrets, and I will be taking 6. I think that's the plan. So we're going to do this. We're going to play this Water Grave out, and maybe they will show me what they're drawing. This is Controller's Graveyard, so I can't kill a Murktide Regent with a Drowning in the Lock. And they're showing me Force of Will, so... yeah, let's kill this. I could sort of make them tap out for it, and I get to use my Fawn, and then they don't get to force something else later if I'm scared about that, but equally... Okay. Philology. I'm tempted to... I'm going to take 6, actually. I'm going to 1. That's quite scary. That is quite scary. If I Snapcast a Ransom in their upkeep, I have Fun Protection with Philology. This sees 4 cards that might be relevant. I think that's where I'm going with this. I'm going to may as well attack with this Thunder Trapper Trainer, because I still can't drown a lot of their creatures. Philology doesn't see as many creatures, and if it gets forced, I suppose I can Fawn back for 3. So maybe that is better. Maybe if I Philology I don't think so, though. Seeing fewer cards seems bad. So let's go to the upkeep. I suppose Philology could find an answer to Murktide, but there we are. So let's cast Snapcaster Mage. I would be surprised if they didn't force here, but okay, maybe they'll force this. Or maybe they thought I was going for Drown or something. I guess I could have done this main phase. Oh no, if I do a main phase, then they'll fight and I can't protect it. If I'd done it main phase though and it had worked, then I could have made Thundertrap Trainer my Ring Bearer. I guess they are doing that now. And then if I'd done that, then I would have been able to loot on attacks because I'm already one stage into the ring. But let's show them 4 cards. What are you going to give me? Or what are you going to show me? Ooh, okay. They're thinking I can take 1 go for the throat. Well, that doesn't help me, does it? Because it means I'm going to go to 1, and then I will die to the other Murktide region, probably. So let's take pile 2. Cut down. Cheeky. So that doesn't help me at all. Interesting. What do I want to be like? I suppose I will make the trainer the ring bearer because it's a smaller creature, though I don't think it matters an awful lot. I think we're going to die to these Murktide regions. I felt in a really good spot earlier this game, but the power of Murktide is yeah, complicated to manage. Right, so I think I can play 2 Oracles and Tainted Pact this turn, so I can surveil 1, 2, 3, 4. I can surveil 4, looking for Tainted Pact. Then I can attack, loot into Tainted Pact. Right, the second one is looting, and then I'll have a second Oracle to go with this cast Tainted Pact, so I can lead on Oracles. So hopefully we see a Tainted Pact in the top 4 cards. And we don't. That is unfortunate. And we don't see anything that gets us there either, because this is 5 or less. This would get us it, but it's too slow. I could look at the things with the ponder, but I don't think that helps us unless I draw, I don't know, something like Strix into something else. That is unfortunate. So we did not see it there. That would have been a really nice spot. But let's attack through here. And I don't think this will help us. I'll cast Ponder. No, Snuff Out being 4 life is bad. I don't have any flyers. There's nothing I can reanimate. Ultrapromises doesn't stop anything. I think we're dead. Indeed. Our opponent is asking us why Oracle is in the deck as well. Otto Wizard, Merfolk Wizard, Human Wizard, Naga Wizard. Oh, you haven't worked it out yet. Okay, that's interesting to know. That was a shame. We had a few spots where we could have got there, but we didn't quite find what we needed. I'm going to bring in these blasts because my opponent is playing a red deck, and they're good there. Generally, I'm not a fan of the pitch counters here, though we are being pressured to fight through things like that. Fight through their interaction, I suppose. Thoughts uses, yep, only okay. The life loss is meaningful. I like Dismember though because it's a removal spell that's efficient. Could bring in Flusterstorm, and maybe we leave in the Flare of Denial, or something like that. Or we leave in the Force of Will. The Force of Will is probably better than the Flare of Denial. Yeah. So maybe I bring in these cards and I take out these ones. And I don't think I particularly want any of these. These cards are okay, but they're not brilliant in this matchup. So let's go with this. Okay, yes. Ooh, this is a bit of an ugly hand. A lot of lands here, but maybe they have a hand with a lot of wastelands. So maybe I just lead on my dual lands and uh, see where it goes. I have the option to fetch basics later. Hopefully they just think that wastelanding me will be good. That's not particularly what I'm looking for. Okay, that's better than either of the previous two cards, I think. I'm quite happy with this. This is a nice engine that will get us going through the game. Ah, they fell for our ruse. Yes, please, wasteland us. Wasteland me more. Please keep wastelanding me. Yes, yes. Oh, they didn't wasteland us that time. Oh, they're waiting till our upkeep. Very, very wise. I'm going to just cycle this Cling to Dust and see what they do. Maybe they will wasteland me here. They probably shouldn't, because I could daze my own spell, but yeah, sure. There's no reason for them to do it. Okay, more lands. That's not really ideal. We've already drawn one of our basic islands, so I will play out my non-black fetches and fetch non-basics from them first. Fodder Strand. Ah. Whoa. Volcanic Island and Ponder. Deal. Well, I mean, the Cling is on the way, and they did do exactly what I wanted, but they wastelanded me twice. And I've drawn a Go for the Throat, which is a good removal spell. And I still have my Elvish Masters, so not looking too bad yet. I'm going to grab my Sewers and see what's on top. Another land. Okay, I think that's maybe enough lands. Good to get them out of my deck, though, I suppose. And a Reanimate. No targets for that just yet. But potentially will be useful later. It's nice to know that we will have 4 basic lands at some point, and that will let us start the grind with the Cling. Oh, another Wasteland. They are really going for this. This is something. They're going again. Yeah, they saw me surveil Clearwater Pathway. Okay, I mean this will be quite funny if I don't, if I do get mana screwed out of this game. But them having 3 wastelands versus my 5 land hand, I must be good for me, right? That must be where I would like to be in the positioning of the game. My opponent's thinking, oh, they're going to cast Brainstorm. This is such a juicy Bowmaster, and I will send them back to 1 mana if I do it here, if they have a daze. So I think I will go for it. And if they do have a daze, I can always reanimate my Bowmaster as well. Let's grab the Snow-Covered Swamp, so the one's in play match. If they do have the daze, okay. That's fine. That's fine. You go ahead. I don't really want to get Wastelands again now. So I've definitely, touching the basics is where I'm at. I don't know if I mentioned it in the deck tech, but I have intentionally not put any double black cards in the deck because of this sort of mana base where there are several non-basic blue lands or whatever. So I think just a little bit of consistency there as well. So I can. There's a chance that they have a bolt or something similar, but I don't really want to therapy them yet. I kind of just want to reanimate Bowmaster. And I guess I'll hold up Go for the Throat for whatever that's worth. have to be careful of the clock as well. These sorts of decks have so many micro decisions that I tend to use the clock a lot. Okay, we have our Bowmasters now. And they've not killed it just yet, so that's something. Our opponent's fetching in their end step, and they're probably going to kill us, and that's fine. Oh, it's gone. Yep. So I could have therapy for Bolt and then reanimated, but if I want it back, I can buy Bowmasters back. And really, I want this to clear the way for a combo at some point. Yeah, you can look at your card. Fetching. And they have a Murktide Regent. Interesting. So I'm quite tempted to therapy for Force of Will here. Another thing is that I could go for the throat, the Murktide Regent, and then Snapcaster to go for the throat. That is another option. But I think the therapy, especially with the Orc Army token, is going to be consistent enough here that I'm happy to do this. So let's therapy them, and I'll name Force of Will and see what there is. There's a negation and a daze. They did have the daze, and they have a Force of Negation. Okay. Well, I do have this Orc Army token. However, I can just go for the throat in their upkeep, and they can't stop me. So no need to take those out of their hand just yet, I think. I will just be doing that. So let's go for this Dragon's Throat. And we'll see. They do have 5, 6, 7, 8. They are ahead on. Well, I suppose because I discarded this Cabal Therapy. But if you're counting this as a card, then maybe that's different. That doesn't fetch anything anymore. So that's not brilliant for me. And they've left up Daze and Force of Negation. So I'm tempted to just reanimate this Orcish Bowmasters. I should remember. Well, it's tempting. I don't know if that's going to win us the game, though. I could just get a Preordain, honestly. I think that would be better. Let's just start creating an advantage. I don't know if reanimating the Bowmaster would. They're at 15 still. And if they find another Murktide or similar, then that's it. Okay, they're using that to take off the Force of Negation, and that's fine. And although I only have one Brainstorm in the deck, I think I'm going to hope to put this Prismatic Booster back in there and not play it out. Okay, so they've played out a land there. Tainted Pact. Now that's an exciting card. We haven't seen that yet. So let's. I think it's time to take the days out of their hand. And see what there is. Pyroblast. Okay. Well, let's do this now whilst they. Oh, okay. Okay, Magic Online. Magic Online lagging again. We are quite a long way behind on clock now. Okay, 5 cards from my graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's eat your Mishra's Bauble and draw a card. Lovely. And we'll pass. So they've not drawn much that is helpful for them. They've drawn something now, though. Is this another Murktide region? No, it's a Seek the Beast, and they've hit, I think, another Blast and a Borrower, I think, are the cards they've found, which are not bad. They can play them until the next end steps of this turn, so they can kill my Snapcaster or they can bounce my Snapcaster. And they've not played a land yet, so they could just play out the Brazen Borrower as well, which is nothing. I think that's what they're doing. So they played the Vault, their hand is Blast, Fetch, I think. Are they playing the Questing Girder and then they're going to Blast my Snapcaster? Fine. Yep. Similar, I suppose. Right. Oracle? Yeah. Okay. Let's see how this goes. That was a good draw, though. Obviously, exactly what we wanted. So this is going to resolve, and I'm going to pact. So we're just going to click no several times until we have no more library. They're being very kind to us there and scooping, giving us a bit more time. We do only have 7 minutes left for game 3. It doesn't help that Magic Online pauses every so often. There we go. Stop complaining, Francis. Right. I don't think I want to make any changes. I was quite happy with the configuration. That game, I think Force of Will just being in as another way of answering a Murktide region might just be an unpleasant necessity. I could play more Graveyard Hate and try and fight them that way, but yeah, not where I want to be, I think. So I'll just submit this again. I suppose Harbinger is actually potentially pretty bad, and maybe that should be a flare. I'm not used to sideboarding with singleton decks online, but yeah, okay. This is serviceable. And they have their turn 1 Dragon's Rage Channeler, so that probably is their ideal start. I'm going to fetch a basic and play out this Spell Bomb. Let's get a basic and play out the Spell Bomb. And they might daze this. No, they seem to have F6'd, so they're either assuming they don't want to daze anything I am or could have on turn 1, or they don't have any 0 mana interaction. So they have a Scalding Tarn. Good. And they're playing out a 2 mana card. Unlicensed Hearse. Interesting. Okay, that has some text in this game. I believe, though, that Dress Down and Unlicensed Hearse is a fun combo for me. But we'll have to see. I think I'm just going to pass and probably just cycle the Spell Bomb. Ooh, okay, that's our graveyard, yes. Probably just cycle the Spell Bomb if I'm given the option to. So this is going to put 3, 4, maybe 5 cards in their graveyard. And that would let them go for the Murktide. So I'm probably going to just do this now. I just really don't want them to do that. All right, they're going to have, if they have another land, then they'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in their graveyard, and they'll just jam a Murktide in, which, as we know, is a pain for me. So let's cycle this. Okay, that was a pretty good draw also. I'm tempted to just counter the Brainstorm as well now. Use my mana up. I don't want the Hydroblast to get dazed. Once again, Magic Online is lagging. It might be best to wait till tomorrow to try and do this, because I might time out from just having to wait for things to resolve. That would be a pain. Okay, let's resolve now. Well, I think I've got some clock back that time, though. So let's just fluster this. I want to use my mana. And they can't Daze the Flusterstorm. Well, they can, but they'd have to spend a mana on it. I think that's okay. So, yep, they've got a Wasteland. That's fine with me also. And they go to attack for 1. Okay. Yeah, let's play this, and let's go for the Blast on their Channeler. They may animate their Hearse with this, which, whatever, I still want to do it in their turn, I think. It's going to be quite big, this Hearse. Let's see what they do. I'll wait till they attack, I think. Because I don't want them to just get to animate Hearse and then daze my dress down. That would be bad. So let's do that there. And they're not doing anything else. Okay, well, now I can start here. Okay, well, I still don't have to get Wastelanded, and I will play out my Falaji. Need to remember to play fast, though, because I now only have 5 minutes and 44 seconds. They have the Pyroblast. That's fine. So now they know I'm on Oracle Pact. They could have cards in their deck like Consigned to Memory. Ooh, if they have a creature, they can now crew their hearse and come in. They didn't choose to, though. Interesting. Thundertrap Trainer. I like that. So I will play this out, and I will play out my Thundertrap Trainer. So we are currently really incentivizing them to okay. Teachings does eventually win the game, right? It grabs me another pact. So I think I will do that. That is a route to comboing. I haven't got much time left in the mesh. So I think taking a multi-tutor chain direct route to that is good. And Trainer is actually quite nice as a speed bump here, right? If they do decide to attack me for 6, I will fetch and play out Dress Down. Okay, they didn't, so I'm into Island Cycle. And I will just grab a C here. And I'll play out my land. They didn't wasteland me that turn, though, which is interesting. I don't want to play the Ponder here. I think I'd rather have all my mana available and not play into Pierce or similar if I don't have to. What is this? This is Brazen Borrower. Okay, that's fine. I can see them animating her at some point, but they really haven't been. They've been quite reluctant, which indicates that they do think it's very effective versus me, instead of using it as a massive 7/7 beater. I could dress down here and block the Brazen Borrower with the Thundertrap Trainer, but I don't want to do that either. I want to cast this Waterlock Teachings. And get Tainted Pact. Yep. Let's get that. And then let's untap, draw, and now I will cast Ponder. And we've got Cut Down, IOK, Land. Let's take Cut Down. And we're going to cut down this Borrower, I think. We might just wait to draw the IOK, to be honest. We'll see what they're doing. They probably have a Seat the Beast, or maybe they have another Brazen Borrower. They're bolting me. Oh, they're bolting my Thundertrap Trainer. Okay. Interesting. So they really just got attack with their DRC. Okay. I guess I could be... Yeah, I'm tempted to cut down now, actually. Oh, come on. In case they have a Force of Negation they want to pay 3 mana for, I can daze it. They don't. And they're now an enormous creature, which is slightly intimidating because it's going to get close to being just lethal all by itself. Maybe I should have just taken the Inquisition. It's tricky. If I'd taken the Inquisition, then I wouldn't have had enough to go for it, would I? He's attacking for 1. Okay. I think I'm going to wait 1 more turn before casting the Tainted Pact, because I think Inquisition is good enough to maybe see what they're doing. Yeah, that's fine. Let's Inquisition them. Double Daze Lightning Bolt. Okay, I will take a Daze, I think. Ooh, lag? Yep, I'm clicking, but nothing's happening. Gosh, it's going to get stressful. 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Agent Line, please respond to my inputs. Please. This is a great match. I'm really enjoying it. Please don't spoil it by failing to operate as a program. So they could bolt me here and then go for lethal, I guess, with the hearse. Which is interesting. In fact, they might not need to even bolt me. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, they are close without the bolt. I wonder what they're thinking about. Do I have it? Is what they're asking me. I don't know if they know what I could have here. They need to have drawn something. So if they don't go for it, I can pact for Oracle and then try and win next turn. And I only have 1 unknown. They didn't attack me. Okay. So I can now go for lethal. I don't need a dress down. If they did go for it, I could try and dress down their hearse. But yeah, here we're going to go for it. So let's cast Tainted Pact. So if they've drawn a force, no, I don't want Kaito, or Dismember, or Cabal Therapy, or Tamio, or Harbinger, or Marsh Flats, or Sink into Stupor, or Watery Grave, or Reanimate, or Verdant Catacombs, or Misty Rainforest, or Fatal Push, or Consider, or Go for the Throat, or Drag Catacomb, or Brazen Borrower, or Tuara, or Snapcaster, or Baleful Stripes, or Orcish Bowmasters. I don't want any of these cards. Yes, I do want that one. And then, yeah, I'm just going to go for it because I know they have a Daze, so I don't have a spare mana. So actually, a Daze beats me as well. Any Daze or Force of Will or Hardcast Force of Negation beats me. We got the GGs from our opponent. That is sick. Yeah, they're going to try and bolt my Oracle, I guess. That's fine. We're going to let this resolve. Yeah. Awesome. That was fun.
Hello and welcome to round 2 of our Legacy League with Tainted Pact. We're on the draw versus M_4, and this I think is a keep. So it's harder to keep 1-land hands with this deck because we don't have many cantrips, but we happen to have 3 and a 1-mana piece of interaction. So let's see what they're up to. Misty Rainforest and an immediate fetch into a Tamio. Okay, that is going to be good against our hand unless we draw something to kill it immediately, or I guess we could ponder into a snuff out, which I suspect that we just have to try and do. And that means we'll need a blue source. It might be this gets dazed, but that seems unlikely. We do not hit snuff out, but we do hit another land, which could be relevant, a Harbinger and a Tainted Pact, but because we don't have an answer to Tamiyo, I think this is a shuffle. Okay, land isn't the worst. They could well be playing Wasteland and having something that keeps us going in the game is good. But at the moment, I do not feel good. At the moment, we are getting thoroughly ground out via Tamiyo, which, yeah, not brilliant. And it's going to flip. Right, so the clock is on. We have to do something in the next, 3 turns or something? It goes up to 4, then it goes up to 6, 8. Yeah, so 4 turns including this turn, 3 turns. Unless they decide to do something that isn't tick up Tamiyo. They did miss their land drop after brainstorming though, which is somewhat heartening. I kind of just want to pass here. If I look at the deck, I can't look at the deck here. Yeah, I think we're not going to be able to cast any meaningful threats this turn. We only have interaction at 1 mana, I believe. So there's not really a way to pressure Tamiyo. We don't have something like... Well, we do have our own Tamiyo, I suppose. So maybe that is what we would have been looking for. I think I will choose to Spell Pierce this, given they missed their land drop. Maybe the game isn't about their land drops, but... Oh, okay. They think it is. And that's interesting. I'll consider here and see what happens. I don't want Darkslick Shores. Force of Negation. I don't think I want to do that. So this is, yeah, going to be tough. I suppose we're going to be able to resolve a Murktide Regent this turn, I would hope, unless they found another force. And yeah, that's probably our best hope for the game. If I exile these 3 cards, it'll be a 6/6. Then it'll be attacking for 5. I think just not playing into Daze is a better line than making a slightly bigger Murktide Regent, because this will be at 8 if they tick it up, and then it will be okay. Magic Online, what is going on? There's actually been an update since I recorded round 1 to Modo, so I thought maybe this would be better, but let's try cancelling. Okay, let's try again. Is this going to behave? Bloodstain Mire, Ponder, Spell Pierce, Darkslick Shores, Consider. Okay, that worked. So you just have to be methodical about it. And this resolves. Okay, so we have some chance of interacting with them. Notably, if they want to play Murktide Regent, they need a fetch land. So we could disrupt that with our Cling. They have a Wasteland, which maybe they drew over this turn, maybe they kept off Ponder. I don't know if they did Ponder. Did they Ponder? They actually... No, they shuffled. So that's interesting. And they're buying back Force of Will. So I suppose they'll have a Brazen Borrower and they want to protect it, something like that. This is quiet. I suppose I could have interacted there. Maybe I should have done. But I don't really want to play into Daze. Maybe they didn't have it last turn, so they'll have it this turn, but I'm expecting them to borrow me here. Yes, okay. I think you can count me as being slightly distracted that last turn. Right. So Sauron's Ransom will fuel Murktide Regent for the following turn. And maybe will give me something to reanimate, I suppose. So perhaps I should be shocking in this Watery Grave and casting Sauron's Ransom. And that might give me an out to reanimate something. There's extra pressure this turn. I really should have used this, I think, on the Force of Will, but yeah, no real excuses there. I could say it was to do with the lag, which probably was slightly, but that's part of playing this client. So they've split their... Oh, okay, no. Interesting. They're showing me these two. So I could put the Orc in the graveyard and reanimate it, which I think is a fine thing to guarantee. And the Daze is quite nice here as well. So this might work out for us. Well, there's a good chance that they force us back, but I'm going to Daze them here because they know I have it. And if they do force us back, that's probably fine. They didn't. I'm going to take this opportunity to weaken Tamiyo. This is another grindy, fair matchup, which I think is in the better range. I suppose, yes. Why would they force it when they can ignore basically the whole clock with Tamiyo? Interestingly, they're protecting their land they bounce with Daze as well. Their snow-covered island. I suppose they're going to crack this clue. Attacking doesn't do anything for us. I think I'd just... Well, this then goes to 6. I'd rather play my Murktide with protection, in all honesty. So I suppose if they're forcing it, I can snap reanimate it, but that's also a thing I can do next turn and not this turn. So it is tempting to just cling and cycle and see where I'm going. Okay. Let's get rid of this and see what happens here. Okay, that's somewhat interesting. Let's just do this. So at least give us some idea about what's going on in their hand. Are they really cracking the clue before? Oh, they have a Dismember. That's fine. I don't really care about that because it's not allowing me to pressure. Oh, I suppose the clue, yes. They don't have a blue card for their Force of Will. Well, that's very helpful. And they have an Abundant Growth. What is going on here? Abundant. That is not what I expected to see. Well, I might take it, so... this is weird. Very odd. The Abundant Growth fixes them, right, and it draws a card. And the Bolt isn't doing very much, so... let's get rid of that. That's not what I really expected to have to do this turn. And, yeah, let's stick this murky boy. I suppose I do have a... reanimate, a Snapcaster Mage, but I'm not going to have much of a graveyard for this Cling, and I'd rather splash back this Sauron's Ransom next turn, I think, and really pull ahead. And yeah, they've scooped. That was a weird game. I did, I think, mess up with that failure to cling on the Force of Will, but now it's very odd. They clung Force, but didn't have a blue card, or did they ponder after that and failed to find a blue card and shuffled? Very strange. So seeing Abundant Growth, I don't know what they're doing. It's tempting to just resubmit. I mean, they're not playing fast combo likely, I suppose, so I can cut something like a Force of Negation. But everything else seems broadly serviceable. They're definitely playing Tamio and Brazen Borrow, so there's going to be targets for my creature removal. I could bring in the blue blasts because they have Lightning Bolt. I could bring in Flusterstorm. I think Flusterstorm seems likely to connect at some point if I draw it. And yeah, maybe I just want one blast. Force seems like it's likely to be not ideal, and so does Flare, to be honest, but I don't know if I want both the blasts, and I don't really know. If they didn't show me abundant growth, I would have immediately just bought it in both blue blasts and assumed they were on blue-red tempo. Abundant growth is very odd, very confusing. Are they playing like some sort of rug mid-range pile with Uro and very odd to me. Yeah. Let's just try this, I suppose. This is more castable. No, Force of Will is always going to be better than that, I think. So let's go with this. I think. But yeah, weird. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe I'll have a better idea at the end of this game. Basic Snow-Covered Island. Okay, well this sounds great. We have 3 lands, we have 2 Tainted Pacts, which one finds Oracle and then the other one wins the game. And then we have a removal spell. Okay, yep, that's fine. And we have a Preordain. Once again, an opponent bringing in Graveyard Hate versus our... I mean, I guess they have Graveyard Synergies in our deck, but it's not really our plan. So they are playing some sort of Uro grindy game. I will take your Brainstorm. I don't want to take Uro, and I can't take Murktide Regent with Inquisition, and they have a Wasteland, which isn't going to connect for a little bit, and a Scalding Tarn, which they played. So that's nice. Nice Inquisition of Kozilek there. That's a good draw. That could just end the game if they don't fetch at a basic mountain, which is not awfully likely. I think I'm just going to cast a Preordain and maybe look for another something that progresses a game plan. There are so many divergent plans here. Okay. Cabal Therapy I like. And I'm just going to fire this off now, see what they drew, and take the Murktide Regent out of their hand. And see if that... Okay, they drew Snow-Covered Mountain. That's interesting. Fine. Well, we've taken the Murktide Regent away. I assume this turn they're going to play Uro. I'm going to play out this Harbinger either way because it turns off their Wasteland. Although they probably will play Mountain... Yeah, so they will get to Wastelanders, I suspect. But it will really... Okay, they didn't do that. I thought they would play Mountain. So maybe they've drawn a Pyroblast or a Bolt or something. Something they want to cast off this. Or maybe they're not thinking entirely about what we're doing in that way. But I would guess maybe that's what they're doing here. Otherwise, you should put the Wasteland in off the Uro in case I play a non-basic land out. And then they can Wasteland be. But normally you just wait to Wasteland anyway. So... I don't know, maybe we will see. Yeah. I'm just going to jam this. Did you draw interaction for this in your 2 draws? You did. Nice. Okay. That's fine. So we're probably going to get Wastelanded, I would expect. And that's fine. We drew Elorian, which is another land, and then we can start... So we can cycle for another basic island probably, and then what's this? Another Uro, fine. We can cycle for another island and then pact and start working towards our combo. We don't know any of their cards anymore though, so that is interesting. Watery Grave. I think I would rather ensure developed mana with basics to play around their wastelands. I'm just going to pass. What I packed for might change based on what they do, so we will do this. Notably, basic mountain is stopping them casting Uro. Maybe they're on an Icefang Quattle deck. Like, they're in the right colors for that. I don't think there are any other snow incentives that people might try nowadays, but yeah, they did cast Brainstorm, so they may well have found interaction here that is relevant. Notably consigned to memory. However, they didn't see that we were a combo deck in game one and may not have surmised that this is what we are doing. So I'm just going to go for it. They might just have removal in hand, which would work against our prior plan. Oh. Yeah, that's removal. So let's just go through our deck. And we'll see. I wonder if I should be editing this out. I suppose it doesn't take awfully long. And they could just be making us play us out to make sure that we're not, playing more than one copy of any card in our library. Or maybe they have an endurance or a stifle effect. No. That is it. Wonderful. Another quick round against another fair deck. On to round 3. Welcome to round 3 of the Legacy League with Tainted Pact. We're playing against a person called Abaddon55. Notably, in the previous league I recorded, we also played against someone called Abaddon, but this is a different Abaddon. So Abaddon, clearly popular with Magic Online utilizers. We are on the play, and we have solid mana, a ponder, and a removal spell, and yeah, something to do with our mana later. So I will happily keep this. And I'm going to kick off by fetching a basic with this Misty Rainforest, leaving open the option for me to fetch a swamp if I want it with the Vista. And there's a Force of Will and a Cabal Therapy. I don't mind those at all. Having access to the Force of Will in the deck is certainly valuable. I don't really want to be pitching the Sauron's Ransom, so they would have to be trying to do something quite horrific for me to remove my game plan. But if they are trying to do something like cast Doomsday or Show and Tell, it's good to have access to it. I'm not going to Therapy yet either. I don't know what they're doing at all. I could just name something like Brainstorm and see, but I often prefer having some level of information about what they're playing or what I might care about before I go ahead and Therapy. That might mean I lose, and if I had the instinct that they are on some sort of combo deck, naming Dark Ritual would be ideal. They've played a Bloodstained Maya, so maybe they're playing Grixis, or maybe this is just another Dimir fetch land. That's certainly a way for me to get more information out of my opponent, and I think I will. I don't know if they're playing Spell Pierce or not, but I'm going to Inquisition them. They could have so many things that disrupt Sauron's Ransom here, and I'd like to be able to clear the way for that, so they could have... Okay, so they are playing Grixis, but say they had a Daze or they had something else. Okay, so they've got a removal spell, which I don't particularly care about. They've got a Hidatsugu, which also doesn't really do anything. They have a Barrogoyf, a Snapcaster Mage. I think I'm going to be taking the Snapcaster Mage and then Cabal Therapying the Barrogoyf away. Maybe. So eventually these could get answered by Fatal Push, but Yeah, I don't have a way to trigger revolt yet, so I will be doing that now. And yeah, maybe they will. So they're going to have 4 cards left, which are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's convenient. Like that. So 5 cards left. Ooh, well, they have a swamp as well. Okay, that's easy to remember. So yeah, hopefully by the time this flips into the vessel of the all-consuming, I believe it's called, we can, we can proc revolt to push that creature, or this one, but not being able to revolt push Barrogoyf is not ideal, obviously. Interesting. I'm going to play out my Drowned Catacomb, and I'm going to wait and see what my opponent does. See, they may just run out the Brazen Borrower, which would be reasonable. I think at this point I'm just going to play Sauron's Ransom before they have a chance, more likely chance to draw something like Spell Pierce or Counterspell to fight over this. We drew, we've given them 1 draw step. We know they have a swamp in hand as well as these 3 cards. And sort of the point of these discard spells was to push through this Sauron's Ransom. So, yeah. Now, our opponent knows we know their hand. Yeah. And so these could be worse than these. However, putting Cling to Dust in our graveyard is sort of a free card anyway, so sure, I'll draw these 2. And they've given us Snuff Out, which probably doesn't do anything, but it does kill Brazen Borrower, and we've got another cantrip. So those were 4 cards that were all very similar. Land. Ooh, they've clinged our Cling. That's fun. Sure, you're going to get that. Well, they've clung our Cling. Clong. Not sure where I'm going with that. We're going to cast this Consider. It's a counter spell at this point, but they do have a Cling, so I think it will get worse, basically. That's a Preordain, I don't mind that. And that is our own Barrogoyf. Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll happily run this out, and they're going to probably Shieldred's Edict it, I would expect. And they might fight over it. They don't... I know that 2 of their remaining 4 cards are not brilliant answers to it. No. This game isn't about, I guess, me forcing a removal spell and getting away with it. There's a good chance that they have a lot of answers to Barrogoyf in their deck. So I think I will let that slide. That's also fine. It's interesting that we've had 3 fair blue matchups in a row today. Yeah, okay, they're making another land drop. That's fine with me. At the moment, I'm inclined to Brainstorm. The Snuff Out is not ideal. Okay, well, this can inform what we want to do with our Brainstorm, so I will cast this. Orcish Bowmasters. Sure, that's fine. So their hand is Hidetsugu, Brazen Borrower, something. And they didn't shuffle with Ponder, so it's probably good. And they're taking my Cobalt Therapy. Okay, so that was the other card. Interesting. So, yeah, 3 cards. I don't think this is very good. I don't think this is all that good. I'm going to take Ponder. I will Fatal Push this Orc and cast my Brainstorm. Ooh, an Orc of our own. Very interesting. I'm tempted to put back these 2 removal spells and try and find something that works with the Oracle. I could also put back the Force and the Snuff Out, say, the worst of the 2. I think that's probably what I like. The matchup isn't really about Force or Snuff Out. in my opinion. Okay, that is much more about what things are about. So they may not let me resolve that, and they may just hold up 4 mana for the rest of the game and just cling a couple of times, but that's not a bad card here in this world where I have a Baragoyf and a... Oh, yes, Baleful Strix. Okay, I wish I had the mana open for this. But they've notably tapped down off 4, so unless they draw a land, I can reanimate something. Okay, now I'm going to be able to target reanimate without them having Cling to Dust available. Which is good for me. And they have drawn Thoughtseize. Okay, may not be able to cast reanimate. I wonder what they're going to take here. This is an interesting game. They've probably, if they know anything about this strategy, they've probably worked out what I'm doing now. Playing Drowned Catacomb and Thassa's Oracle in my Dimir tempo deck is not standard practice. So they still have Hidetsugu and Brazen Borrower in hand. And yeah, we're just... I mean, they might as well hit me for 1. I don't really know why they wouldn't here. So I'd like to draw something like, yeah, Snapcaster Mage. I mean, Tainted Pact is the best draw because that's just lethal. I suppose they're betting that I don't draw Tainted Pact. But there are outs here that just end the game on the spot. Maybe that's what they've realised. I wonder if our opponent is a Blood Moon deck, and if they would bring it in against us. Okay, a card that doesn't kill Strix. Does kill Brazen Borrower, though. I think I'm going to get this Orc in around them just holding up Brainstorm and so on. I'm going to just take out this Strix and pass. Means they can't pay 5 to force it either. Not that that would be brilliant for them, but yeah. What's this then? Another Orc, right. I see. Okay. That was pretty nice for them. Can't remember if they knew that was there. They did cast a Ponder, but yeah. Okay, I'll take 2. I'm going to have to kill this, I think. So I will go for it. So now they have Borrower up, aka Petty Theft. And yeah, I can't block either of their potential threats, so I will be attacking. Maybe they'll just play out the 3-1, but they haven't so far all game. So we'll see what they're up to this time. They know our hand as well, which is not great for us, I think. Their hand is, I think, better for them in this position than ours is in ours, unless we specifically draw Tainted Pact. I am tempted to just dismember this, because they seem very reluctant to cast this. Unless this is the Hidetsugu? No, this is a Colligan's Command. Right. Okay, well, I'd like to see what's on top of my deck. I was hoping it would be that. Okay, you're going to put Baragoyf in your hand. I'm going to discard this Dismember, and I'm going to win the game. Baragoyf, Hidetsugu, Brazen Borrower in hand for our opponent. And yeah. So, yeah, this is really showcasing why this combo is so amazing. It's just 4 mana Splinter Twin. No weakness to Graveyard Hate. No weakness to removal. Which is... And the cost is you have to play the Singleton Pile, of slightly suboptimal cards that are less consistent. So they're going to make us show them our deck, and we're going to get there. I expect. Yes, we know their whole hand, so. I don't know why people still do this. That card is... Thassa's Oracle is 5 years old now. But here we are. Moving on to game 2. So, they are playing a few high impact gold cards, and that does make me want these blue spells. I don't want the pitch counters at all. It's just not the matchup we're in for, and having answers to Blood Moon and their gold spells, not consign, Blue Blast, would be ideal. They seem to have some amount of graveyard interaction in Colligan's, like for themselves, graveyard value generation in Colligan's Command, Cling to Dust. I think I would like the Flusterstorm again. So that's up to 60. Do I want a Soulglide Lantern? Or similar? I think probably not. Again, I have a Nile Spellbomb and a Cling of my own, and I don't want to overload on those sorts of effects. And I think all of the cards in the main deck are actually pretty reasonable. I suppose Snuff Out is quite poor. Maybe I'll cut Snuff Out for the Soulglide Lantern. I could bring in Plague Engineer to name Orc or Bird, that sort of thing. That's tempting. I could bring in something like Opposition Agent, though I think I prefer Plague Engineer. I think it's important that my removal spells do kill Orc, though, which I think they all do. Cut down, go for the throat, Fatal Push. Brazen Borrower probably isn't brilliant in this spot. So maybe I'll cut that and try the Plague Engineer. That could be weak, but there are going to be some spots where it is excellent. So let's try that. Okay, here we are for game 2. And yeah, we have some relatively narrow but should be effective cards. Mulliganing in this sort of matchup is pretty poor. It's part of why we boarded out our forces. They're just looking to grind out our resources. And so yeah, we have the lands and the interaction that I'm happy with to keep the hand with. Yeah. So it begins, as it usually does, with a Thoughtseize. And what they take may tell us something about their hand. Less so than with, say, a combo deck as to what way they want the game to be going. But still perhaps a little bit. So they've taken our spell bomb, so maybe their hand is Clings or some other graveyard dependent thing. So maybe the Soulglide Lantern would be good if we did draw it. Though this is significantly stronger than that effect. I don't know what I'm scared of on turn 2 that is blue. Sorry, that is red or Fatal Pushable. And I think I'd rather just get this under Suety Sewers in, not have a tap line later in the game. I don't think I need another removal spell, especially since I drew Go for the Throat. So I have creatures on lock, so getting removal spells out of my deck is a good thing. Our opponent has untapped, played a Bloodstained Mire. Okay, similar to last game, and they've passed. Yeah. I think most of their turn 2 plays involve them passing. I suppose the reason not to play Sewers is that maybe they're going to try and Blood Moon me on turn 3. Which is something I should be cognizant of. I'm not going to play it, but I don't know. They may not think that it's worth trying to Blood Moon me, given that I'm a 2-color deck. And yeah, they're the 3-color deck. Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, well, we do have the Plague Engineer as we drew it up. I'm going to let them untap and not do anything there. It may be that they want to fight over one of our removal spells. I doubt it, though. But I would prefer to stick this Plague Engineer, say. Oh, they're not doing anything, and that they probably don't have a lot of counterspells that fight Plague Engineer efficiently. So I'm tempted to just take a draw step and just play out the Engineer. And I'll play out this Vista. They know I have Delta though, don't they? Yeah, okay. I'm not going to show them that I've drawn a land. Let's just start fetching our basics. And because I've already fetched the Surveil land, so the utility of the fetch land is much lower, and I'm just going to jam this Engineer. It's unlikely they're playing something like Counterspell, or maybe they have Stern Scolding. But this should be quite effective if it resolves, taking out the Orcs. They have something. They have a Cling. They drew Cut Down. Oh, something else. It feels like they don't want this to resolve. Surveil 1. Maybe they have something else. No. Okay. Just as we drew it up. Alright, well, this is certainly a lot better than Brazen Borrower. And yeah, they've seen us get rid of our Delta and our City Sewers, but they know about these 3 cards. They thought these are Nile's problem. And we've untapped. That's interesting. They've... Well, that is quite interesting. Okay, I'm going to play out this Vista and come in for 2. So it may be that they have... I guess they're going to Cling to draw a card, maybe. I'm going to try and fetch another basic island. Maybe they'll Cling here. No. And I'm just going to eat my graveyard and prevent them from being able to Cling anything out of my graveyard before I can resolve the Smoke-Tide. The way that it stands is they'll go up to 7. And that means that they'll be able to Cling something in their graveyard, I believe, because it'll be Cling plus 5 plus the thing they're targeting. But it will mean they hit their whole graveyard. I think that's what they're doing now. They're Waterlogg's Teachings. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I'm interested to see other people playing this in their fair decks. I didn't think this would be a Waterlogg's Teachings mirror in Legacy. I've also played this in a sort of 8-cast wizard style deck, which using this a mystical tutor to assemble combos, which I might make a video about at some point in the future. I do love me a Waterlogg's Teachings. The most prominent place where this is seen play is definitely in Breach in Vintage. In quite a few numbers in some decks. Some people are playing 2 or 3. I don't know how I feel about that, because drawing more than 1 can really hamper you, especially in Vintage. I suppose they pitched a Force of Will, but playing more than 1 out as a land is not brilliant. But I suppose if you draw 3, you're playing 1 out, pitching 1 to Force, and casting 1. Interesting card, though. Yeah, like all the MDFCs, it's much easier to slot into your deck with that I'm a land ability on the back. But yeah, what do they get? They got Daze. Do you have 2 Dazes? If you do, that's fine with me. You have Force and you're pitching Daze. Sure. Okay. Well, that's also fine with me. This feels like a spot I'm happy to be in. I know they have the Cling and a bunch of cards in their graveyard now, so that will start grinding forward at some point. And we only have interaction for their threats in our hand. I guess Blue Blast can counter a removal spell sometimes on Plague Engineer if it's a Colligan's Command or a Lightning Bolt. But for the moment, that's not doing an awful lot. Sync can also, I suppose, remand, but remand whilst you have a 2 damage clock is not exactly perfect. I know I'm going to play this out this turn, so let's do so. And let's attack with the Orc. I suppose if they K-command in here, I might just remand it, because it's sort of all their mana for the turn. And I suppose Sync can put Cling in their hand if they spend 4 mana on it. So there are a few things that it does. At the moment, it's pretty dead. That is a good card, and probably worth me just trying to buy a turn with it not in play. They might have that red blast I mentioned earlier here. They're certainly representing it. I think again I would fight. No, okay, they're happy to take a turn off. And that's fine. I just don't know. Yeah, okay. I was sort of not wanting the Narset in play if I could draw a cantrip, which is getting me through these lands nicely. Unfortunately, we drew another land, but that's fine. Because they're probably going to just have to play Narset again. And yeah, let's play this out. We only have one brainstorm, contrary to most decks, and we have a few ways to accrue more than one card in a turn. Say we top deck Lorien, or we top deck Sauron's Ransom. We're going to want to have all our mana in play to play whatever we may draw. Even stuff like Waterlogged Teachings, expensive cards that cantrip. Yep, this time that's fine. What are they going to show us? They pitch this to force. It's interesting that they teaching for days, and then they spent 4 mana to get a card that they pitch. Okay, that's going to get rid of our engineer at some point, I would assume. And then they have a Narset in play. So, things not looking so good anymore. Our clock was too short, as discussed, and we have creature removal in hand where they have no targets, and they're going to get rid of our Plague Engineer, which is fine. And Otawara. I'm not going to do that now. That just means they recast it and get an extra shot at it. But yeah, it may be useful in the future. Say if we draw something that is a draw spell that we want to cast through this Narset, we can put this Narset back in their hand, right? Yeah, Planeswalker. They've shown us a Force of Will off this Narset activation, and they're holding up their 5 mana. Okay. That's interesting. I could just play that out, really. But our opponent isn't doing anything. I suppose they're going to start clinging, but... Okay, that's fine. I'd rather you did that than cling, to be honest, because it means that my removal comes online. I might actually try pushing this now. Yeah. Not surprised by that at all. They didn't bother to fight, but I like giving them the option to. They're playing a Tamiyo. Okay. That is scary, because now they could quite easily have a Brainstorm. And I don't really have a way of working around that. Okay, they've just gone ahead and done that. So now they're forcing me to do this. Do they have another way of flipping Tamiyo? Do they have a blue card for their force? They don't. Okay. Not all bad then for us just yet. Notably, we're ahead on clock this time. That's refreshing. Dark Slick Shores. Yeah, I'm going to keep playing out my lands, even though I don't want to draw them. I suppose I could have played out the Thassa's Oracle to just pressure the Narset, but I think that's so unlikely to work that the trigger in hand is worth more than that for now. Drawing. Oh, this is Cling, or is this Murktide, I guess? They could play Rebellion Murktide, just one or something. Or Abhorrent Oculus. Okay, that is intimidating for sure. I'm going to just put that in their hand in their end step. And hope to draw Tainted Pact again, I suppose. And I hope they don't have a blue card. Notably here, it might have been better to have a... the turn we use Otawara. Okay, well we're not dead, so let's keep going. I suppose... Yeah. Notably the turn... Notably, yes, the blue blast may not be as good as a force here, right? A force here would counter their Oculus, and we could move on. So maybe I only want one blue blast in or something. They do look like they're primarily Dimir. But it would be nice if they had a red blast to be able to fight, I suppose. We have drawn quite a few lands now. Our opponent is... Do they have a Lorien to cycle or something? Why are you doing this here? Curious. I suppose they're afraid that we have something that they need to hold up 5 mana for? No, they do have a Lorien. Okay. They're getting an island. Sure. It seems likely that they keep their Force of Will in this scenario. Ponder. Yeah. I'd like to draw something like Thunder Trap Trainer or Falagi, maybe, even. Tainted Pact is not getting us there at the moment. So, yeah. Marsh Flats. That's not really what I wanted, but I'll play it out. I actually don't know if I have any more fetchables. Watergrave, Undercity Sewers, 4 lands. Yeah, I'm going to keep playing, but I don't actually think I do have any more fetchables. Let's think about that. See if there's anything I've missed. I'm not playing the Sunken Hollow. Oh, there's Underground Sea in my deck. Okay, well this clock is quite a lot more now. They might well be just going to win the game here. I know they have a force. There are very few ways that I get into this. It's like Sauron's Ransom hit Tainted Pact plus a counterspell. I think I'm just going to not crack flat in case I draw that and hit the Force of Will. But it's very thin. Oh, well, there's always the chance that they put the Force back with their Brainstorm, I suppose, and kept a Red Blast instead or similar. So let's try this. They have a Red Blast? They do have a Red Blast, and they don't... They tap out of the Force of Will, so now they have to have a blue card. It's going to resolve? There's no way this works, surely. They must have another Red Blast. They do, and... I don't think there's anything I can pact for here. My Plague Engineer's in the graveyard. I can't reanimate Plague Engineer. Let's just cast this and see if there's anything useful to go and get. Maybe they do something funny here. Making them think about it, I suppose. I suppose the last card of our library may be Flusterstorm, right? And then, or one of the last 3 cards in our library could be Flusterstorm. And if that's true, then, okay, yeah, they just had Force blue card, double Red Blast. Yeah, they didn't put the Oculus back either. Sure, that's us dead. If the one of the last 3 cards in our library was a Fluster or the Hydro, and they didn't keep Force blue card, then yeah, maybe. So they do have a bunch of Red Blasts, and that makes me inclined to just leave things as they are, honestly. The Plague Engineer was good. Yeah, I think I'll stick with this. I don't think there's anything I really want to change. I guess the Soul Guide might be better as a counter, as a force, perhaps. Let's try that. Oh, I made a play in that game thinking I shouldn't be at 1 life because I could draw Force, but obviously Force was in my sideboard. Well done, me. I think Soul Guide not being able to nuke a graveyard whilst drawing a card makes it significantly worse. Okay, let's see. This is keepable. Yeah, this is keepable 7. Mulliganing versus the Thoughtseize Colligan's Command deck. It's pretty poor, and this does what we want it to do. Notably, we don't really have a way of informing our Cabal therapy just yet, unless they decide to Thoughtseize themselves or similar, which seems very unlikely to me. But I'm happy to just draw go for a little bit. And hold up my disruption and tutor for lands, etc. Notably, we don't have an answer to something like a Bowmaster or a Strix. And the Strix would line up quite well into the Baragoyf. But that's the hand we kept. So, do I want to play out this Sync? Do I want to cycle this Lorien? It seems likely to me. I mean, I could just draw lands, so let's not do that. Let's play the Sync tapped, I think. Maybe they'll Orc here. Why are they pausing us? So I think the chances of us drawing lands is quite low. Just drawing 2 lands in a row, something like that. But if we do, I'd like to have the Lorien, and there's no reason for us to cycle Lorien just there if we're not going to play Baragoyf this turn. I don't think I want to play Baragoyf this turn. They've left up 2. Okay, so we've drawn a Swamp, so I'm going to play that instead of the Sync and be happy that I didn't cycle my Lorien. There's a good chance that they just throw out an Orc here. Magic Online is lagging again. Yeah, not a lot I can do about that. So here, there's a good chance they throw an Orc out at us, something like that, or they just fetch a Surveil land. Maybe they've got a Raucous Theatre, I think. We saw that. So they could just be planning on grabbing that here, and they have a bunch of Red Blasts and Forces and stuff like that. But I would rather play the Baragoyf out with some understanding of what they're doing. So the Thoughtseize or an Inquisition would be a good draw. And an Orc is a relatively slow clock. Okay, they are fetching here. And they're going to grab a land with island or mountain type. Okay, they did get the Raucous Theatre as mentioned. It's a cool art. Little Rakdos symbol. And they don't want Brainstorm. Okay, that's certainly an interesting choice. Oh, they're just going to draw a card with their Cling. Okay, fine. All fine by me. Are you going to do anything else? Okay, this sort of indicates that they're kind of low on lands. And they're going to play a Volp and pass. I'm probably... Right, so again, if I don't draw a land this time, I'm going to actually bolt in the Sync and jam. Okay, I did draw a land. Feeling better and better about not playing this Sync. Sorry, cycling this Lorien. I'm so tempted to just therapy them on... They could have so many... The thing is with their deck is they have so many different interaction points. I don't have to do anything. Right? I can just sit on my Pierce and my Flusterstorm and my Sync and just wait. And I think they are low on lands, so maybe that is something we're hoping to capitalize on. Maybe they will end up drawing over on their hand and just have a lot of interaction, and they'll start discarding it, that sort of thing. We're perfectly happy to just sit here, I think, still. And we're waiting on them. I hope this opponent's okay. They have been quite slow. Maybe it's just Magic Online. Yep. So they're going to do something this turn. They are, and they do have an Orc. Okay. Fine. So that puts some onus on us to do something. I'm still fine with having not done anything up to this point. And I'm still probably not going to cycle this Lorien. And I could just play Baragoyf with 2 counters available. I think the Cabal Therapy has such strong potential later in the game that I want to keep it for defending a specific threat against a specific card in their hand. Whereas Baragoi, protected with Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce, is sort of... Okay, well that is quite disruptive to Baragoi. But I do have creature removal in my deck, and I do have Plague Engineer, so I think I'm fine not playing into that as well. Yep, that's what I thought. So I'll bolt in this, and I'll look to land a Goyf. Notably, if they force, then I can pierce and or Flusterstorm. Though I don't think they're interested in forcing because they've got this Strix. But it does get in the way of their clock so far. And they do have a force. That is quite something. So here the question is, do I want to Flusterstorm or Therapy? I'm inclined to Flusterstorm just because this can catch things like Narset on their turn, which could end up being a pain. Though equally I could see that being wrong. So let's go ahead and put 3 copies of Flusterstorm on the stack targeting Force of Will. That feels pretty good. That makes us pushing a Strix later much more palatable, or perhaps we push the Bowmasters. They've got something now? A Cling. Yeah, that's fine. So, notably something they can do here is attack into my Baragoi and then clear their graveyard, right? They can delve or escape 5 and remove all the cards from the graveyard, and then my Baragoi will have 1 damage marked on it. So I'm not going to block, because if they play a land and do that, then they just get to kill my Baragoi for free. And I can always attack back with my Baragoi. Like so. Oh, they didn't have a land. That's interesting. That makes me more interested in just swinging with the Goyf then, and not pushing the Bowmaster, and just seeing what they do. They are blocking though. Okay, sure. But they can't do the trick I talked about with the Cling. I don't think I'm going to play out this Lorien. I think I'm just going to play out this Tamiyo and continue to pass. They have a Fatal Push. Oh, I see. That's what they were setting up. Okay, well, that would have gone either way with the Fatal Pushing their Orc anyway. They're going to tap out into my Pierce, which I think I will use now. Whilst I have the opportunity to. Tamiyo is certainly a relevant threat. I still don't really want a Therapy. They didn't blast again there. They might have a Bolt or something here. They're holding back on that if they did. They said they were paying costs momentarily. Now they do have a blast, but they probably didn't want to play into Date, I suppose, something like that. And they're going to attack with both their creatures, and this is where perhaps I want the Therapy to push through the Lorien. Okay. So they did show me they had Days in their deck, and they've shown me they have Red Blasts in their deck. They've just played 2 Red Blasts, so it's not overly likely they have a third. If they force my Lorien, is that a problem? I don't know. They could have another Orc. I think Orc would be the worst for us here, though I do have a push. So yeah, I think if they force, I'm kind of like fine with that. And if they have an Orc, I can push. If they have a Red Blast, that seems unlikely. I wouldn't name that anyway. So yeah, let's see what they do. They have the 3rd Red Blast. Okay, that's a lot of Red Blast you got there. Yeah, there's just no way I would have named that. with this, and now they have Klingon lines, so things aren't looking great. That is a shame, because the Lorium was sort of our plan through the game, and they've now... Are they clinging now? What's going on? No, they have an Abhorrent Oculus, and I don't have Revolt, so they're going to get a 2-2. This is looking pretty bad. Now, I need to draw something pretty good here. I wonder what I want to draw. Even stuff like a Murktide is not going to be good enough, I suspect. Misty Rainforest certainly is not the best, but I at least can. Sewers. Yeah, that's fine. And then get rid of this. But the clock is very high, and our Baragoyf is in the graveyard. So... Sure. What's this? Another Oculus? Oh, an asset. That's good, given that we just left Ponder on top. And they revealed Force. This feels like we're dead. That's a shame. Well, I will ponder and see Tainted Pact. Interesting. Well, I don't know what I'm drawing to there, but sure, why not? Let's. That would be really good if they hadn't just played Narset. That would have been great. Brutal. This is now 1, 2, 1. Oh, this is damage 1 plus 5. Yeah. Wow. Those are some savage plays from our opponent there. Didn't quite come together. Having the third Red Blast, I think, really did it for us. If we'd drawn 3 cards in that spot, we probably would have been able to push through this sequence here that they've shown us. But having the third blast specifically was very rough. I think Magical Eye is lagging, but they have won the game. So it's a shame, but on to round 4. Hello and welcome to round 4. We are now 2-1, and we have lost the die roll versus Sandal 1-2-3. This hand seems pretty serviceable. We've got some coloured mana sources. We happen to have a Force. We have a Tainted Pact already, and we have a Thunder Trap Trainer, which is a card I'm excited to be playing with in this deck. Our opponent has mulligan to 6 on the play. And it's considering mulligan to 5? Interesting. They've kept their 6. Polluted Delta. Nice onslaught, Polluted Delta. Volcanic Islands. There's another... It is. It's another fair Volcanic Island matchup, I assume. Alright, we've played against... Yeah, a few different decks in a similar vein tonight. Mishra's Bauble me. Okay. And they saw the Clearwater pathway. So, I'd ideally play out a dual land here. I've got quite a few dual lands, but them wastelanding me whilst they're ahead on mana is not the best, so I'm just going to play out this fetch land. And hopefully I can put this Thunder Trap Trainer down, and it will sit in the way of a 1-1 Channeler. That's such an unlikely game plan for the moment, but it may also find me something like a Fatal Push. So. Okay, well that's already failed because they have a 3-3 on turn 2. Lovely. 3-3 attacking on turn 2. Remarkable this didn't see play for so long, actually, this card. Crazy. I assume they will be attacking. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I have time to not play this Thunder Trap. Let's see what I draw. Falaji. Okay, so Falaji sees 3. I suppose it's slightly worse than Thunder Trap, so I will play out Falaji first. And maybe they'll daze this, and then we can move on. But I can't really play around days that I don't know is there. And if it is there, then yeah. Okay, they unsurprisingly let Falaji resolve. And I drew Snuff Out, which seems great to me. Big fan of hitting Snuff Out there. Now, if Snuff Out gets dazed, that's quite a lot worse. So I think I will just be taking 3 off of the channeler. Unfortunately. But they could quite easily have just not dazed this, which I think is what they did. They did think for a long time, maybe they just didn't know what it did, maybe they've never seen the card before. It's not something people play in Legacy, so it's much more of a pioneer, modern card. It's a good card, but yeah. I think the only real synergy with it being in play now, I suppose there's Flare of Denial, and there's Kaito, and there's Cabal Therapy. Those are the 3 synergies in this shell. It's fetching in our end step. And they do have a Surveil land. Okay, so different to the other blue-red opponent in this case. They decided they don't want Lightning Bolt though. Ponder, Surveil. Yeah, it's a terrifying deck. When it gets running, the turn 1 Channeler plus Bauble hands are wild. So aggressive. And the spectre of days hanging over the deck at all points. You're wondering, yeah, can I, like, I'm not going to cast this because if it gets dazed, I probably just lose. Based on our current hand, like, there's no guarantee that I will find a removal spell. I suppose I could try and Tainted Pact for something, and maybe that's enough. But that means I'm probably functionally taking 7 off Snuff Out as opposed to 4, which is quite a big difference. I'm going to end up at 9. It's good to see that they've already put a bolt in the graveyard, I suppose. So next turn, I'm sort of expecting to Thunder Trap, Trainer, hold up a mana, Snuff Out in their turn with Fawn. I could just pay out a land and try and pay 3 for Fawn in case they have Force, but they've not shown me a daze, and we're almost a third of the way into their library, so yep. Okay, that's the Channeler coming in again. Yep. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, just more Magic Online things. So they're going to draw off their Bauble. And we're drawing a Preordain. Interesting. Which sees 2 cards. I think it's preferable for me to play out the C. If it lets me, yep. And then Trainer off these 2 basics. And now I can hold up, say if I draw Fatal Push off the Trainer or similar, then I can still cast it, or I can cast the Preordain. Flexibility. I suppose this does mean that they can double daze the Snuff Out. Opponent is thinking though. I wonder what they're thinking about. This is not threatening anything they're doing. It's a 2-mana. It's just an impulse with a body, really. But they are, I guess, continuing to think about it. Okay, it resolves. What about the trigger? We do hit Fatal Push. Wow, that is something. That makes me want to pass and try and push in their upkeep and fight over it with Fon. Because Snuff Out gives us an answer to a Murktide Regent, which must be coming at some point. And I'd much rather use this push. I don't want to take another 3 though. I think I am in the business of playing into days again here. I think if they do counter this, then through the Fon. Yeah, this looks like a daze. They're floating off the Thundering Falls. Yeah, you can surveil. I've kept that on top. Interesting. Okay, well, I'd like you to not daze me. You've got another daze. There's a good chance they do have another daze. Doesn't feel like it though. You'd probably daze the Fon. They have a force of will. Okay. Well, I'm going to Snuff Out then. Okay. So, if they play a Murktide Regent, I'll have to Tainted Pact for Go for the Throat or something similar. Baleful Strikes, that sort of card. They did find Wasteland. I wonder if that's... So their hand is now Thundering Falls and hopefully not Murktide Regent. Doesn't seem like it would be Murktide Regent. And I suppose I'll Sewers here. I'm not intending to Pact in their turn. I don't want that basic land. Okay, well this could have been a worse spot. It'd be really cool to find something like Kaito here and get to pick up one of our impulse creatures. And okay, they drew Brainstorm, that's pretty nice, and we know they already have a Surveil land, so they're only going to have to keep one of their lands unless they also draw a fetch land, and then they can put back the Surveil land something else and fetch them both away. But we shall see. They did draw the fetch land, so they probably don't have the Thundering Falls, and this could quite easily be a Murktide Regent now. No, okay, Ponder still not the worst for us then. And they shuffled and drew. Okay. I'm tempted to just Pact here then and try and hit something like Kaito or... I think I would if I had another Pact. I don't know if that's what I want to be doing yet. That's not the best draw, but I will play that one out and I will get in for 1. They're not really asking me to do anything just yet, and I would have... The downside of doing it there was I got dazed, and maybe I would draw something like an Oracle this turn. And if they're not doing anything to pressure me into casting the Pact, then I probably don't have to. I suspect they're going to wasteland my Sewers. Yep. I'm not bothering to float because they can just move to my second main, and that's all rather boring. It doesn't matter when I float my mana in their turn. I suppose maybe they have a dash creature, but Ragavan is Ragaband. Okay, so they're going to draw a card in my upkeep, and they'll know what I'm drawing because they saw it. Oracle. Okay, I'm going to wait a turn to not play into Daze. They're not playing any discard. And they could draw Force blue card, but they've already used 2 forces, and they have to force the Pact, which, yeah, isn't brilliant for them. Okay, that's fine with me. I'm so happy that this isn't a Mystic Sanctuary for an expressive iteration as well. Okay, now I have a Daze as well, but I don't really need that. So let's play this out. This is what they knew we had from the bauble. And let's play this card out. Now they could have many things here. Pierce, Force blue card, maybe a Fawn, maybe 2 Dazes, so that's less likely. Maybe they have a Brainstorm they're waiting on, and that sort of thing. Okay, no, it's just resolving. So now we're thinking about cards like Stifle that we're going to lose to. I'm not sure how Magic Online represents the interface. I think it's not in exile, yeah, until you're revealing it. So I'm wondering if we're able to draw the last card in our deck, if it matters. Right, so we're looking at the 6th card, the 5th card, the 4th card, the 3rd card, the 2nd card. Do we want to draw Swamp? That doesn't matter either way. So yeah, we would have had an option to do that. And I wonder if they're conceding here. It's a distinct possibility that they are. They need Stifle. Yeah. Alright, up a game. And yeah, okay, this time again, I definitely want my Blue Blast and my Flusterstorm. The other cards are less good. I don't really want the Force effects, like the Flare, the Force of Negation, and probably not the Thoughtseize. Having one Force is nice, and Thoughtseize is quite awkward, especially on the draw. Maybe I would swap them on the play, bring in the Thoughtseize, cut the Force. Just because you have a little more mana on the play. But I think that's it. I suppose Harbinger is maybe not all that good. Turns off their red mana a lot of the time though. I don't think they're playing a mountain, so sometimes it will stop people. Maybe I'd rather have the Flare than the Harbinger. Let's try it this way. Lots of experimenting to do with the sideboarding here. I have generally been pretty happy through these games, though, with this configuration. Let's see how it goes in this next game. Here we are for game 2 of round 4. We're on the draw after winning game 1, and we're going to keep our 7. We have a couple of lands. We've actually drawn both our pitch counterspells, which means we get to pitch one to the other. Perfect. We have 2 discard spells, one of which is Therapy, which perhaps will let us snipe a couple of cards out of our opponent's hand, and they're leading on a Ponder, not a Channeler or a Delver, which is ideal for us, given that we kept a hand without a removal spell, which I think is just the name of the game here. Maybe I would have to force the Delver, I'm not sure. And then we have Kaito for later on. I'm somewhat tempted to just fetch the basic Swamp here. I just don't. I've only got 2 lands, and Swamp does do useful things for us. Here's an Inquisition of Kozilek. How do you feel about that? Are you feeling Daisy? You are feeling Daisy. Okay, I will take my 1 mana recoil of bounce your land, you discard a card. It does mean that I have less information for my Therapy, but hopefully I'll draw a land. Maybe I get to Snapcast Inquisition, and then Therapy, and then maybe sack that Snapcaster, that sort of thing. Delver of Secrets, okay. I'm not really in the market for forcing things like that. And yeah, let's play out the Verdant Catacombs. Let's just stave off the threat of Wasteland a little longer. And let's hope this Delver does not flip. It does not. Bravo. And I think I'm keen to just snap Inquisition this coming turn, unless something changes. We're already up a mana. I might force a threat here. Yeah, I think I will force this. I'm not really keen on being in that spot, and they didn't have a red blast, which is something that I was thinking about on my Snapcaster Mage. Is this another channeler? It is another channeler. That would have been fun to therapy, but alas. I'm going to fetch my Surveil line here. I already have one swamp. The second swamp is not so useful, and I can't fetch Basic Island. That can fetch Basic Island, and it's probably enough. Let's play the Dark Slick Shores out, and let's play out Snapcaster. So they can't daze my Snapcaster, and maybe they haven't got anything I can take. I am most scared of Murktide Region here, which maybe means I should be therapying them. That's something, but I also want to spend all my mana, and right, okay. 2 removal spells. Well, I have to take Brainstorm here, because otherwise my therapy is not going to have any effect at all on the game. And there's also a chance that it, yeah, doesn't anyway, right? Because in their upkeep they can kill my Snapcaster Mage in response to this trigger, Surveil to try and flip Delver, attack for 6. Which I think is... okay, they're just 2 days anyway. Fine. So now I suppose they get to do the other way around. They get to see if they want to draw the days that I know about and flip it, which they don't, I assume, which is why they're doing this now. Ooh, or they're not. They're thinking about it. Okay. No, they do want to draw the days. Fine. That's not the worst for us. And they're attacking us for 6. That isn't good for us. And whilst we do have relatively stable mana, I don't have a way currently of slowing the clock down. And they have got a lightning bolt. That's an interesting card. I wonder if they will try and kill our Snapcaster. Let's see what they do here. Okay, well they didn't. But I also don't think I want to Kaito here. I do think I'm going to Cabal therapy them though. If I therapy them, then actually no. I should have Kaito. If I Kaito, I get the snapback, and then I get to. The thing is, it's a 2-mana spell. That's sort of where I was at with that. I'm going to do this now, and see what they do. Because either way, I'm going to get something useful, I think. Because I don't mind playing this for 4 on the next turn. So if they use both their red spells to bolt me and then also bolt my Snapcaster, then that's a fine outcome. Predict. Ooh, I like this. Predict is sweet. And if they don't heat my Snapcaster, then I can just take the days and cast this. So either way, I think I'm relatively happy. And if I stick this after killing one of their creatures with the Go for the Throat, then I'm looking at tapping down one of these for 2 turns, and that's a lot of time. But I am taking 3 damage next turn, so I will be going to 4 and then 3 off the fetch. So we are certainly in danger range, as it were. Especially as we don't have much going on. Yeah. Picking up the Snapcaster is such a slow line. I think we just lose before it gets there. So, just unfortunate. If we had more mana or more life, or they had less threat, then ideal. But no. Okay. Come on, opponent. What are we doing here? You don't want the Channeler. You are going to kill that. Aren't you going to daze my therapy to get a Surveil? They are. Okay. Lovely. Well, that's a therapy that made them discard inverted commas 3 cards. They don't want Murktide Region. What? I guess maybe they're just looking for Bolt. That is quite remarkable. I have more removal that kills Channeler, I suppose, but it does provide them with more selection, which I don't want them to have. So their hand is Volcanic Island, and They don't know the top card of their library. So, blank draw plus a Volk. And they're going to put us to 4, and then I'm going to try and cast Kaito. I might actually... No, okay. Yeah, we're just going to ram Kaito in here and hope they don't have Bolt or Daze. They don't. Okay, well, we're not dead then. I like Cabal Therapy, just having that little border on it to tell me that I can cast it. Thank you, Cabal Therapy, for letting me know that I can sacrifice Kaito to blind therapy them. Did they just draw Bolt? Looks like they might have done. Are they slow rolling me? No, they drew Pyroblast. Okay, that's not anywhere near as bad as Bolt. I'm going to Sauron's Ransom. The Drowned Catacomb's nice to keep in my hand because they don't know that I can cast 2 mana spells this turn. They don't know how I'm valuing future land drops, that sort of thing. So, yeah, nice to... Not the worst draw, right? There's a lot of thinking for them here. I suppose they've got a lot of decisions. They've got another turn of this being tapped as well. This game's going to have a lot of really complicated sequencing, I suspect, and then I will just lose to Lightning Bolt. Wow, they're going to give me 3 versus 1, that I can see 3 of them. That would be brave. I wonder if I've just hit 4 lands or something, and they're pretending that it's not that, and then they're going to give me 3 lands versus 1 spell. Wow. Well, what's going on? Barrogoyf. Yeah, it's a good card, but I'm not interested in dying to Lightning Bolt, I think. I guess I'll hit their Murktide. Like, this stops me dying to Lightning Bolt immediately. I actually think it's correct to take Dust as long as there's something that progresses your game plan, which these do. Yeah, this is probably... Okay, now I'm not dying to Bolt. I feel much stronger about all of this. That's a great draw. Let's play the Strix out. Double Oracle all the way. Yeah, okay. 1, my Snapcaster is in my graveyard, but I do have Reanimate in my deck. Whatever, I just want a big Merc, I think. Let's leave the other ones in there though. See, there was the Chain Lightning. The life gain off Cling. Clutch. Super clutch. They might just concede here, to be honest. Because they know I can gain 3 more life. And I have a blocker and an attacker. Oh, okay, we're still here. That's quite a good draw. I'm tempted to just come on in with my Murktide. Right, and this is a kill next turn. Let's play this out. And I'll just pass. It doesn't matter if they counter the Cling to Dust. Unless they draw 2 bolts, but then they can't counter it. I suppose if they have 2 bolts, then I want to Cling now. So maybe maybe I should have done this already. I just don't want to lose to Bolt. And can they even have 2 bolts? They can, definitely. Yeah. So... Well, that's fun. This leaving and then going back triggers Murktide. I've never actually cast the card with Escape with a Murktide region in play. Yeah, so I should have done that in their upkeep or probably in their upkeep. I should have, because if they'd drawn a Lightning Bolt, and then I wouldn't have been able to do that. I suppose it doesn't matter because then I just don't cast Cling and nothing changes. Maybe I Spellbomb here and then they can't play a Merc, but as well, but we'll see. I'd rather have the card and have a lot of things that kill Murktide. And okay, well now I don't think they can. I think they've played a land. Maybe? No? No, they haven't. Okay, they've not played a land, so they could still have exactly land Murktide region. Now they cannot. Now they... yeah. Now they're on probably Chump Murktide or Blast or Bust sort of thing. Unsurprising, they know the top card of the library they're drawing because they put them back with Brainstorm. They know I have Flusterstorm. Interesting. I'm just going to do this now because it means that I might draw a removal spell for Insect and just win. Okay, fine. What would he have drawn? A Maya. We would have seen quite a few cards, I suppose, with the Surveil, but yeah. On to the last round. We are 3-1. Okay, here we are for round 5. We have lost the die roll, but we have a good hand, so I will be keeping. We have, stable mana, cantrips, 0 mana disruption, half our combo or tutor, whichever is more relevant, and a Kaito, and they're playing a Prismatic Vista, leading on Vista. So, is that another fair blue deck? Is it Stifle Naught? No, it's not. It's Energy. Okay. It might be hard. I don't have a very fast clock. Unless I find an Oracle basically as soon as possible. I'm going to shuffle this because I suspect my fastest route to victory is Tainted Pact Thassa's Oracle. White decks generally will not have many answers to that. And during trying to do things like play Kaito is just not going to work if they are playing Guide of Souls and have a stretch of creatures in play. Okay, they are playing Boros. They're not playing Orzhov. They're playing a Staff. I don't really care about that. That's not the game we're playing. I think the fact that I have a Tainted Pact and some library manipulation makes me happy enough to ignore this. I think next time I'm going to probably consider and then use a Surveil land as my turn. A Falagi. Well, that actually is pretty good. That is potentially a blocker. They could be a Wasteland deck. This is very mana hungry. I think the chance that they're a Wasteland deck is high enough that I should just fetch another basic here. And I'm going to play out the Falagi. It's actually pretty good here. The body is relevant. It helps me maybe find something useful. A Drown in the Lock. That might buy me a turn, so sure, I'll take it. Everyone in the 3-1 bracket is playing Boros Energy versus Tainted Pact. That is Legacy. Yeah. Legacy 2025, Modern Horizons 3 Legacy, Tainted Pact versus Boros Energy. Stuff is cool though. Stuff is cool with Guide of Souls. I assume Ocelot Pride. That works really nicely. And they're just attacking, and that makes sense. And when they attack, they can do things. I'm just going to block your 1-2 with my 0-3. Because you've not given me a reason not to. I don't even really care about it that much. Though it does work with my Kaito, which is exciting. If I want it to. They do have the Ocelot Pride. Okay, this starts to get real scary real fast now. With the Pride and the Guide. And the Staff. Yeah, okay. This is sort of why... Okay, yeah, we're not in Kaito ninjutsu mode. We are certainly in... Well, if I can consider into an oracle now... yeah, I'm not going to have time for that either. That, at least, is a basic that lets me not get wastelanded if that's my opponent's plan. I'm going to just probably drown in the lock. Shall I drown in the lock? I guess it doesn't matter yet, right? So they're either going to find a surveil land or whatever. So I can drown in response to a creature if I care about guide, or I can kill pride. I think I'm going to, or before combat, I suppose, in terms of guide, because it gives them the energy, pump something, make it bigger. I think I will be doing that. I'll probably just kill Guide of Souls at the beginning of combat. Oh yeah, this is a lot of pressure, and my deck has not really produced things that manage this. So as I said, I'm going to kill the Guide of Souls, fetching a swamp. And yeah, let's do that. They do have 3 cards in their graveyard. So this, if it resolves, should work successfully. Cool card though. Okay, that's something. And then next turn, if we get there... Oh, wow. Well, I didn't play the Darkslick Shores. That's true. So I don't actually have 4 mana next turn because I functionally have 2 tap lands in hand. So maybe I should have just played this out and then I would have had the 4th mana. But getting Wasteland is just so bad. But we'll see how this goes. So I can block, I guess, a cat token. It doesn't really matter. I'm taking 1 damage either way. Well, Falaji has saved me 2 damage and cantripped, so whatever. And this is the Goblin Bombardment. What is this? You're just playing the modern deck. This is a Johnny. Okay, that's pretty bad for me. So that is another token on the staff. And then you're going to get another token. That's another counter on the staff. Oh, you have the City's Blessing. Okay. Well, I think this number is now irrelevant. You're just going to have an extra card a turn if you want it. I do have a removal spell, but really it just kills a Johnny. So I'm taking 1 off my fetch land, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm not dead unless they have a burn spell. There's a good chance that they do have a burn spell. Yeah, this is pretty awkward, I will say. I guess I have a Fawn for a burn spell. Not loving this though. They didn't draw a card off their staff. That's interesting. Are they holding something out like a Mana Tithe? What are they doing? I guess we'll find out pretty quick if that's what they're doing. That is heinous and will have to be murdered. Yeah. Okay. I guess this blocks pretty cleanly as well. This card is one of those cards I read and go, why does this exist? But hey, maybe that's a play preference on my part. Maybe I should be more interested in just throwing fury at my opponent's face. Yeah, let's not let them attack because then they'll be able to sack whatever I target. Let's grab this swamp because why not? And let's destroy Broadside Bombardiers. Yes, please. And we're really hoping to draw Oracle here. I don't think there's anything else that saves us now. And they might have something already. So I'm going to block, I guess, the Ajani, because I have to. And I will block one of the 2 power cats. I take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and go to 6. Oh, they have something. Ephemerate, Source Supply Shares. I could force this. I think I will. I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. And yeah, I don't think either of these are doing very much. I'll get rid of Kaito. I don't like. Yeah, this is at least a shuffle for a brainstorm. That's the only reason I've done that. That way around. So let's see where we're going. Okay, so yep, 6 as discussed. And they're going to make a bunch more cats and a bunch more tokens. And I'm going to draw Thassa's Oracle and the game will... okay, well, that's... Yeah, welcome to Legacy Boros Energy, I guess. Hey, you're not going to get any cold shots unless you make them. That's fun. Alright, well... Yeah. Opponents reading Tainted Pact. They had to read... Actually, notably, this opponent didn't read Phalaji, which was the previous one. So we're going to go through our whole deck, and what's the last card this time? Let's see. So if I put Dismember into my hand, does my library go to 0? Because it doesn't matter here. It does. Okay, that's how this works mechanically on Magic Online. Good to know. I haven't ever known that, so... Yep. I don't think there's anything in Magic that saves them here. Just looking at my deck. Yep. So, they could have Flage. I was just looking at that Nile Spellbomb as it went past. I'm trying to think about any graveyard interaction they might have. That's probably the only one. I think the only cards I'm interested in here are Toxic Deluge, Plague Engineer, and maybe the Blasts. Not the Flusterstorm, the Blasts. Flusterstorm jumping in there, as consigned earlier. I think Thoughtseize is a difficult one to argue for. Similarly for Nile Spellbomb. And they had a lot of basics, so Harbinger is probably not it either. I don't mind any of the forces. I think the game is going to be very compressed, so things that let me interact for 0 are ideal in many ways, though. Yeah, Spell Pierce, Force of Negation, those are probably the worst 2 cards left in the deck, I would guess. Leaning towards maybe cutting the Pierce. No, I'll try cutting the Fawn. I mean, the Fawn did do something that game, and they're going to be doing a lot of things on their turn, I suppose, before they attack and whatnot. That's kind of close. I don't know. I think we're going to have a lot of 1-mana plays. I think so. I think that freed up slot is ideal. Yeah, see you in game 2. Hello, and welcome to game 2. On the draw, this is quite a sketchy keep, I think. If we were to keep it. It does, so there's upside. Strix is probably good, but it's not great versus Ocelot Pride. It's not great versus a board of tokens going wide. Our hand has some insulation against the Blood Moons that I'm sort of expecting, which is definitely an upside to it. And the Strix plus the Kaito does something. So I wonder if they keep a disruptive combo hand, or so it's a disruptive versus combo hand, or a hand which works with Blood Moon. But no, Guide of Souls. Okay, well it's not Ocelot Pride, which is the one that I was more concerned about. Though they may have just led on Guide and we'll play Pride turn 2. We'll see. Snuff Out. Wow, that is a stellar draw on our part. I'm going to play out this and intend to fetch basics and get my Surveil land later if I can, because of Blood Moon. I'm not going to respond with Snuff Out. I'm not going to Snuff Out until basically they play a creature or whatever. They might do something different, assuming they will have a Guide of Souls, basically. So, of course, they can counter that by just attacking first, which is what they should do, I think, unless they've got a haste creature. But you never know. This card's super innocuous. I think on the spoiler, yeah, maybe it came across as being nuts, but I don't know. I don't remember people screaming about this one. And it really is rather good. Okay, well, that's... Actually, I might let this resolve and kill this, because this gets blocked by Strix, so... Let's do that. I don't mind you gaining a life and an energy. Let's get the one that matches the basic in my hand. Even though I'm going to play out a fetch first anyway. Right, that's coming into play. You're going to get your energy and your life, which is fine. And you're going to attack me. And while we're here, I'm just going to kill your pride, I think. I don't want to misclick and end up in your end step where you get a token. And then I'm going to play out one of these 2 blue fetches in my turn and play a Baleful Strix, which should keep the guide back. Now, maybe that I could hold up Drown, but that I don't really want to drown the guide. And okay, 2 removal spells. That's looking pretty good now. So we have answers for a little while. They've drawn quite well. Snuff Out was... I mean, maybe Fatal Push would have been better, but... Or Cut Down. Those 2 cards probably would have been slightly better. Is this the Blood Moon I was afraid of? This is Goblin Bombardment. Okay, that on the board state we're currently on is not the worst. And I think I'm going to get to... I suppose there's no point in fetching there. I should have got a Swamp probably if I'm playing around Blood Moon, but... Whatever, let's just get Kaito in, I think. They didn't commit any more creatures to the board, and that sort of makes me want to put some pressure on if I can. Who can resist this sort of value? Not I. Yeah, and I'm just going to draw a card, because if I Surveil, they'll probably get to bombardment my... Wow, okay, let's keep Toxic Deluge on top. Okay, well, we'll see. Bombardment is scary because it puts a clock on the game that my removal can't manage, but they kind of have to put creatures into play to manage Kaito. If this is a Johnny, that's a very good one for them. That's not a Johnny. If they put another creature into play, they can make their guide into a 3/4 and then throw the spirit at Kaito with Goblin Bombardment, I guess. That's something they can do. But nevertheless, we're sort of in a position of comfort for the moment. We would need to draw something to close the game out, I think. So they're thinking, okay, it doesn't feel like they've drawn a creature, so they're not going to be able to hit Kaito for 3, so they're going to attack me, maybe? No, they are still attacking Kaito. Okay, that's fine. That's still fine. And here's when things get somewhat interesting. So I now have a Kaito. Wow, Orcish Bowmasters. That is also excellent. So... I guess maybe they'll chump and then throw the spirit token at Kaito. I don't know if I mind that though. Because if I try and kill the spirit token, then they're going to... Yeah, this is what I thought would happen. If I try and kill the spirit token, they'll throw it at him anyway. And then I just get to draw a card, and I spent mana on a removal spell, which doesn't achieve anything, so... They're throwing it at me. Okay, that is more scary. You're not trying to manage Kaito. So it's strange that you attack Kaito, but then don't throw Goblin Bombardment at me. That is a little bizarre. I don't really need to draw more cards. So I'm just going to plus Kaito and keep him alive a little longer. And I'm tempted to just lead out this Baleful Strix. I know I've got this Toxic Deluge, but I'm somewhat sort of cognizant of my life total being a little flimsy, and I'd rather just have a creature in play, I think. Ideally, I'll be able to play the Bowmasters out, untap, drown, go for the throat things, and then start attacking. That would be the ideal. Or maybe I can snag something, snag like a staff draw, something like that. Another guide. So that's going to get you your energy. So I can't quite do that. So let's go for the throw this first guide. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I suppose I could have, that's interesting. I could have drowned the guide on the stack to stop them getting, I suppose, that point of damage value out of bombardment. But now we have nothing in play, which I suppose does make the deluge slightly better. When can you do this? It's only when you attack, right? Yeah. So they're going to have a lot of energy, and they're going to hit Orum's Chant, which I don't think does anything here. That's a swing and a miss. Feel free to cast it for 1 energy. Even if you have a hate piece, I don't really care. Yeah. So if I elect to... Oh, they can't... His says hexproof. What on earth's going on? You can't even... They couldn't have bombardmented it. I'm going to shoot the Amped Raptor. They're probably going to kill the Bowmaster. Yep, that's fine. And I will... Yeah, let's fetch a swamp. And kill this. That means I get to keep up Hydroblast. I could have Hydroblasted the bombardment, but I don't. At the moment, I don't. It's just not. It has to deal me 9. And his hand is, I believe, Orum's Chant. So, just not all that concerned. I've made so many odd play errors this league, though. I'm not playing very tight. And there are quite a few cards instead that I'm not used to playing with. These are not ideal, so I do not want those. Thank you. It's a 4/5. I don't know if I want to cast Reanimate on anything. I think I will just keep my life, thank you. Okay, have they got another Surveil land? Yeah, they do. Wow. 2 Surveil lands in Boros. That is a statement. Okay. This is something. They've drawn something. Fable. That is getting Hydroblasted. So they... I need to read up on how I'm... So this is in exile. They don't get to put it into their hand if they don't cast it. I see. Right. At the moment, they're just going to lose to Kaito. I would be surprised if they didn't. Am I even... Oh, this is what? A 4 power clock. So this is 4 turns. That's a good one. Sure. That's a snap. Yeah, I'm just going to hold up Snapcaster Mage now. There's not a reason for me to do otherwise. Dress down, Lorien. No, I don't really want those. Well, that's even worse. Serves me right. But, yeah. We have a drown. We have snap cost to drown for basically anything. Then we have 6 power in play. They draw a land. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's the end of round 5. I'll catch up with you in the wrap up. We've just finished our league of 5 rounds of Legacy with this Tainted Pact shell. I was generally quite happy with it and it performed well. We did play a lot of the same style of fair blue mid-range tempo matchups, which I think is a stronger point for this deck, right? You're not playing... The Force of Wills is the main red flag with this deck, and you lose percentage points in combo matchups for that reason. But that generally gains you points versus tempo, and there are a lot of redundant effects that are useful in those matchups across the removal and threat suite. And generally, it's a relatively stable mana base with 2 colors and 4 basics and 7 or 8 fetch lands, something like that. So, good matchups for the league. Wasn't it to win the round we lost? That's a good sign, but I don't think it was particularly representative of Legacy as a whole. But I do think that this deck has some legs and is definitely fun to play and quite challenging to play. I definitely made a lot of mistakes, some of which I managed to catch and call out, but yeah. And the combo is extremely strong, and I think only will get stronger as the average quality of cards increases. You'll note that I haven't built the turbo fast combo deck with Lotus Petal and all the tutors like the Transmute Tutor and Spellseeker and things like that. And I think those cards are just bad, and you'd rather have a more consistent deck and then win with your 2-card combo when you find it, instead of playing a load of bad cards that will lose you games when you draw them at bad times. The sideboard, we actually didn't play against any graveyard decks really. I think we brought in the Soul Guide Lantern once, just because I was interested, but no Leyline, Mindbreak Trap, Fairy. We did use these anti-creature sweeper cards in the end against Boros, and they were good. Maybe we don't need both of them, but it was effective. We didn't bring any of these combo cards in, and then we brought in the Blasts and the Flusterstorm. I think that was just because we faced such a skewed spread of matchups. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, I appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next video.